Men, were you ever attracted to a woman and became unattracted when you saw her naked? Story 1. As long as she is hygienic, I'm good. If I'm seeing her naked, it's because I already made up my mind and nothing but poor hygiene will change it. Story 2. This one time I was with a girl, I pulled off her top, and she had tattooed vertically from navel to neck in thick Roman lettering Richard. Considering we were in China and she was Chinese, the confusion definitely put a few wrinkles in the peen. Story 3. Usually when I suspect that may happen, I refrain from going that far with her. Story 4. Not visually, but one time when I was doing the deed with a woman, when we switched to doggy style, I could smell a strong smell of poop because she didn't clean her butthole very well, and it really grossed me out. Story 5. There was a girl I hooked up with who had a back tattoo of a famous celebrity. A portrait. When I hit it from the back, it was like he was looking at me. Story 6. Only time I've lost all attraction for a person when they were naked is when I went from turned on to deeply concerned. She takes off her sweater, and I can count her ribs. I look at her thighs, and there are obvious self-harm scars. That took me right out of sexy time and into caregiver mode, and we had a serious conversation about her mental and physical health. She did get better, and nothing made me smile like when she started stealing my fries. Story 7. No, but I was dating a girl once who always dressed very modestly, and then I saw her naked and realized she was way hotter than I thought before. Friends, before we continue our video, I want to remind you of the importance of subscribing to our channel. If you like this kind of content and you can subscribe to us, we will be very happy. We are also waiting for your comments and likes. Thank you. Let's move on to the video. Story 8. No, I rarely do casual hookups, and when sex is on the table and usually already sure I like her as a person and then some imperfections wouldn't bother me at all, was once with a girl that felt very self-conscious about her breasts and always wanted to keep on a shirt bra because of it. Her breasts were fine, just some dumb dude that made a mean comment about them in the past. Took a lot of assurance, trust, and time to make her feel more comfortable with her own body. Story 9. Yes, but because she went into the bathroom, used it, stripped naked, and came out, without washing her hands. We had been outside before that, and her hands were noticeably dirty. It just grossed me out so completely. Just why? Wash your hands, people. Story 10. It was right before she got naked. When I was in college, my date came back to my dorm room and saw my 10-gallon fish tank. She was like, I was like, you don't like fish. She said, I hate animals. I laughed thinking she was joking. She wasn't joking. I was like, even cats and dogs? She said she hated animals of all kinds. Said that fish were actually not too bad since they were contained. Right there, any sort of attraction I had for her was gone. I was like, well, I'm tired. Thanks for the date, and let her out. Story 11. Yes, and I can't explain it. Great chemistry, great conversation, great texting. But I just had zero spark. There was nothing wrong at all, but I couldn't even get hard. That's never happened in my whole life. Story 12. Yes. To be fair, it's not like I was crazy attracted to her. I thought she was pretty enough to make things work and probably the best I could do at the time. Then the clothes come off and, yeah, I don't know what you do in that situation. You can't force yourself to be attracted to someone, but you feel like a total piece of shit when someone makes themselves vulnerable for you and you don't like it. And it's not fair to her to be tied up with a man who doesn't appreciate her. At the same time, it's not fair to get dumped shortly after she opens up sexually. The whole situation is just awful. After that, I tried to focus on pursuing the type of women I'd drag myself over broken glass to sleep with to avoid repeating that situation. On the bright side, that almost never happens. I'm usually ecstatic when I see someone naked for the first time. Story 13. No, but I have lost attraction to undeniably hot women who have horrible personalities. It's like biting into a pretty apple that's rotten on the inside. Story 14. I've had the polar opposite situation. Was neutral to mildly attracted, but then attraction significantly increased when I saw her naked. She was a tomboy. I met her shooting hoops at the huge gymnasium at my college. I used to like shooting around for cardio after strength training. She asked me to rebound for her while she did shooting drills around the key. 5 attempts at each point in the key if people care. She played in high school and was very good, but she tore her ankle and quit her senior year of high school. She was still a baller. We basically would just do that drill and rebound for each other. We often overlapped in timing on the basketball court and would just do this drill when we saw each other. Maybe play a light one-on-one. It would be quite close as she was a marksman. She always wore an oversized shirt and basketball shorts, so I never really saw her body. We did this maybe 4 or 5 times until one day I invited her to grab a post-exercise meal at this deli that was close to the gym, and she turned out to be a pretty cool person. I falsely assumed she was lesbian by the way she talked and her haircut. I talked to her the way I talked to my other homies, constantly ending my sentences in dude and bro. It was a nice time. She invited me to hang out in her dorm later on, went home and showered, and then met her at the entryway of her dorm building. She wore a casual hoodie and sweatpants. Again, her body was not obvious. We basically just shot the shit watching YouTube videos on her bed. She kept on inching closer to me and grazing her hand on my hand until I realized that she may be into me. Eventually, I just went for the kiss, was pleasantly surprised feeling her boobs press on my chest and her ass through her sweatpants. Things got hot and heady, and she took off her clothes. I kid you not, straight 10/10 Latina smoke show. She was definitely super fit from being an athlete, but sheesh. She brought that athlete energy in the bed, and we had a marathon session. We hooked up at least once or twice a week. It was awesome because she never really showed off her body in public, so it was like a secret I only knew. Ball was life. We continued hooking up for a couple of months until I caught the feels and wanted things to be more serious. She wasn't into that and called things off. I basically stopped going to the basketball court cause didn't want to deal with seeing her. She was 2 years ahead of me and eventually graduated. Still friends with her on Instagram and still looks good 10 years later. Damn. Story 15. Unattracted? No. A little less attracted than before. Yes. Story 16. From the other perspective, I was getting along great with a guy and we were about to have sex, but when I took my clothes off he went limp and left. Then he ghosted me. That sucked. But oh well, it's in the past. It didn't really change anything for me though because I've always hated my body, so I just kinda thought, yeah, I get it. Story 17. No, but I've been attracted to a woman and became unattracted when she became unkind or uncaring towards me. Looks aren't everything. Story 18. Not unattracted, but there was a case of a woman looking better clothed than naked. Shapewear and push-up bras can be deceiving. Story 19. Literally every woman I've been fortunate enough to see naked, my thought was always the same. Dan, she's beautiful. Story 20. It's never the way she looks. Never. It's never the size or shape of the titties or the booty. It's never stretch marks or cellulite. Physically speaking, it's only ever been an obvious lack of personal hygiene that could be enough of a turn-off to stop once she's naked. Story 21. Listen, I'm a woman, 31, 5'2" and 360 pounds. Wild, right? I'm obese, morbidly if I'm not mistaken. You're allowed to have preferences, and I implore you to be honest if you see someone naked and aren't feeling it. If they're unreasonable about it, then ignore them, because ultimately what matters is how you feel. Please don't have sex with someone unless you are really wanting to. Even if it is awkward to be honest in a moment of vulnerability, I'd still much rather hear the truth right then and there before I decide to sleep with you. It's hard to let people down, but it's important to be true to yourself. I'm lucky I'm with a man who loves my body, because I hate mine, and that reflects how I talk to myself, which is poorly. I'm in therapy. Diet is changing. He does want me to be more active, but only because he knows, and I know, that it will be more beneficial to my mental health. Ladies, you're beautiful. There are men who will love your body no matter the shape or size. Same for the guys who think they don't have a sexy body. Somebody somewhere will eventually love your body. Love yourselves until then. Story 22. Not when I saw her naked, but when I saw her true personality. As a rule, I'm not fussed by natural things. Crooked teeth, tiger stripes, belly pouch, muffin top, uneven boobs, scars, shit like that. None of us are supermodels. It's like owning a car. Some cars are dinged up and not fault of the owner. It just means you drove it. Personality though, massive turn off. Story 23. Booked up with this girl a few times right after college. We had a lot of fun together and we were really into each other. One morning after a night of fooling around, she slid to the front of the bed and she left a long poop skid stain on the bed. We both noticed it at the same time as she stood up. She looked like she saw a ghost. Doesn't say a word, grabs her clothes and runs out my door. Had to throw away my favorite set of sheets and couldn't see her naked again and not think of it. This is a good note to end on. Please write your stories in the comments. I'll be happy to add them to future videos. Also, you can rate our other videos. We would be very grateful. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day.